In the previous video, we covered both P1 and P2. In this video today, we're going to be covering P3 and P4. I can explain to an educated reader the effects on the mean from changing the dataset. Step 1, calculate the current mean. Step 2, calculate the mean when you introduce the new number. Step 3, explain if the mean goes up, down, or if it stays. Pause the video here so that you can take a note of this to refer to whenever you are doing questions of this type. Stephanie calculates the mean for the below. 5, 2, 5, 6 and 7 is her current mean for her dataset. What is the effect on the mean if she adds 5 to the dataset, and what happens if she adds 11 instead? Remember, step 1 is to calculate the mean of the current dataset. So to calculate the mean, we have our current dataset here, so we are going to calculate the mean of those numbers. We need to add the numbers and divide by the total amount of numbers that we have. Step 1, add up all the numbers. And step 2, divide by how many numbers there are. So we're going to divide by 5 as there are 5 numbers. 25 divided by 5 is equal to 5. So that means the original mean is equal to 5. Then we need to calculate the mean when we introduce the new number. So if I add 5, what that just means is I'm going to be adding 5 to the end of my data set. So for step 1, I'm going to be adding on all the numbers from the current data set with the 5 that I am introducing, and that now gives me 6. Step 2, I'm going to be doing 30 divided by 6. Be really careful here. Remember that you added one number, so if you add one number to your data set, you now have 6 numbers in total that you need to account for. So 30 divided by 6 is equal to 5, and the new mean is equal to 5. What happens if I add 5? So we can see that the new mean is 5, and if I compare this to the original mean, step 3, I need to explain if the mean goes up, down, or if it stays. So I can see that I've got 5 and I'm comparing it against 5. So that means the mean becomes 5 and it stays the same. So there is actually no effect to the mean if I add the number 5. What happens if we add 11 instead? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce the number 11 to my dataset. Step 1, I'm going to add up all the numbers, including the 11, which gives me 36. Then I'm going to divide by 6 once again, because once I introduce 11, I'm going to have 6 numbers in my new dataset, so the mean now becomes 6. So step 3, remember, explain if the mean goes up, down, or if it stays. So if I add 11, what happens to the mean? The mean becomes 6 and it gets higher, as you can see. So I have a mean of 5 and I'm comparing it against the new mean of 6. We can see the new mean is higher than the original mean. Here's a we do question for you to do. As you can see, the steps are here to guide you and support you if you need so. Pause the video here. Here's the solutions. Make sure that you self-assess your work. As you can see, to find the original mean, you need to add up all these numbers, and that gives me a total of 12. Then I need to divide by 3, as there are 3 numbers here, and that will give me an original mean of 4. Step 2, I need to calculate the mean when I introduce the new number. So if I introduce the number 4 to the data set, it is asking me to see what happens. That just means I just need to add 4 to the current data set that I have here. That means my total now is going to become 16. 16 divided by 4, remember that you added one number, is going to become 4. This means that my new mean is equal to 4. Step 3, explain if the mean goes up, down, or if it stays. You can see that the mean will stay the same as we have a new mean of 4 and we are comparing it against the original mean of 4 and there is no difference. So there is actually no effect on the mean if we introduce the number 4. What happens if we introduce the number 8? So this time we're going to be adding 8 instead to the data set. Now, if I add 8 instead, I'm going to have a total of 20. 20 divided by 4, remember again, because we added one number to this data set that we already had. So 20 divided by 4 gives me 5, and that means my new mean is equal to 5. So as you can see here, the original mean here was 4, and the new mean was 5. Remember, step 3, explain if the mean goes up, down, or stays. The mean will get higher, as you can see, because we have 5 is higher than the original mean 4. So this will have an effect on the mean as it will increase. Here's a question for you to try independently. You'll notice that there is no support available. Pause the video here. The solutions, make sure that you self-assess your work. So for the original mean, you should have got 11. So you should have added all of these three numbers together to get 33 as your total. 33 divided by 3 numbers will give you an original mean of 11. When I introduce the number 3 to the dataset, I'm going to get a total of 36. 36 divided by 4 numbers that I have, if I introduce a new number, will give me 9. That means the new mean is equal to 9. Remember, explain if the mean goes up, down, or if it stays. You can see here that the mean gets lower as we have got a new mean of 9 compared to the original mean of 11. So the effect on the mean is that it decreases. In the next question, what happens if I add 7 instead? So if I add 7 to the current data set over here, I'm going to get a total of 40. 40 divided by 4 is equal to 10. That means the new mean is equal to 10. If I compare it against the original mean that I had, which was 11, and the new mean of 10, I can see that the mean decreases, so the mean will get lower if I introduce the number 7 to the dataset. And that's the effect that the new number will have on the current mean. That's the end of P3, and we're now ready to move on to P4. So using our F1 example and our P4 example, we're going to be finding the totals in P4. So the way we can find our totals is we need to work backwards to find the gap that we have over here. So 4 times 4 is going to give us 16, and that means that all of the numbers that we have in our data set must give us a total of 16. So if I add them all together, we know the total has to be 16. So we need to now find an actual method in finding the total rather than doing it like this every single time. So the method that we can actually use is step 1, multiply the mean by the number of gaps. So to find the total of the dataset, we must multiply the mean by the number of gaps that we have. So in our question over here, the mean was equal to 4 and the number of gaps that we had was equal to 4 because remember we had 4 numbers in our dataset. So if we do 4 times 4, that gave us a total of 16. And that's exactly how we achieved our total. And that's really all we need to do, which is multiply to get the total. I can generate missing data from a dataset for a given mean in a non-mathematical context. Step 1, calculate the first total. Step 2, calculate the second total. Step 3, calculate the mean of both the totals added together. Pause the video here so you can take a note of these to refer to when we're doing questions of these types. The mean of 5 girls is 3. The mean of 2 boys is 6. Find the mean for the whole class. Now remember, when we're finding questions of this type, we do need to really focus on finding total. Step 1, calculate the first total. So we can see that we've got a total of 5 girls and the mean is 3. So we need to do 5 times 3, which is equal to 15. The total number of girls, therefore, is equal to 15. Step 2, calculate the second total. So we can see that for the boys, we've got a total number of 2 boys and the mean is equal to 6. So we need to do 2 times 6, which is equal to 12. So the total for the boys is equal to 12. Step 3, calculate the mean of both the totals added together. So we've got 15 girls and we know that we've got 12 boys. So the total just means that we need to add these two numbers together, because we really want to find the mean of the whole class. And in the class, remember, we've got girls and boys. So we're going to take 15, add it to the 12. In total, we get 27. So that means for the total number of boys and girls, there are 27. To find the mean, we need to use the total, which is 27, divided by the number of boys and girls in the class, which is 9. Remember, we need to add the 3 and the 6 over here. So we've got 3 girls and 6 boys. If we add those two, that means we've got a total number of 9. So 27 divided by 9 is equal to 3. Once we've found that, we can then write down the mean for the whole class is equal to 3. Here's a we do question. You'll recognize that there are steps here to support you and guide you if you need so. Pause the video here. Here's the solutions. Make sure that you self-assess your work. So as you can see, we need to do 10 times 2 equals 20 to get the total. Reason why is that there are 10 girls in the classroom and the mean is equal to 2. So 10 times 2 gives us 20. That means we can write down the total for the girls is equal to 20. We've got a total number of 3 boys here, and we can see that the mean is equal to 5. So we need to multiply these two together. So we need to do 3 times the 5, which gives us 15. The total number of boys is therefore equal to 15. Once we've done that, we need to then find the mean of the whole class. So the way we do this, we need to add up the two totals together. So we've got a total number of 20 girls and a total number of 15 boys. Once we add the two together, we get 35 for the number of boys and girls. So the total for the boys and girls is equal to 35. Then we need to find the mean of the whole class. So to do this, we need to do 35 divide by the 7. And we're dividing by 7 as there are 2 girls and 5 boys, and once we add them together we get a total of 7. 35 divided by 7 is then going to give us 5. This means that the mean for the whole class is equal to 5. Here's a question for you to try independently. You will notice that there is no support available for this question. Pause the video here. Here's the solutions. Make sure that you self-assess your work. So as you can see, we've got 2 girls in the classroom and we've got a mean of 4. So we need to do 2 times 4, which gives us 8. That means the total for the girls is equal to 8. Then moving on to find the boys, we need to find how many boys there are, which is 7, and the mean is 6. So 7 times 6 is equal to 42. So the total number of boys is equal to 42. Now, for step 3, remember we want the mean for the whole class, so we need to add the totals of the boys and the girls. There are 8 girls and there are 42 boys. Once we add those two, we get 50, and that means the total for the boys and girls is equal to 50. To find the mean now for the whole class, we do 50 divided by 10 from the 4 girls and the 6 boys. If we add that, we get 10. 50 divided by 10 is equal to 5, and that means the mean for the whole class is equal to 5. And that's the end of P4, and in this video we covered both P3 and P4 today. Here's our beat the clock for today. So there's a P3 question and a P4 question. A data set consists of the following: 4, 5, 2 and 1. What happens to the mean if you add 6, and what happens to the mean if you add 12? The mean of 20 girls is 4, the mean of 6 boys is 4. Find the mean of the whole class. So you can use the help of a key information table that you can find either in this video or you can find it in your notes that you've taken earlier. Spend a maximum of 10 minutes on both these questions and use the help of a timer to time yourselves. Pause the video here. Here's the solutions, and make sure that you self-assess your work. So for the first question, the original mean is equal to 3. Using this data set, there are 4 numbers and you need to add them and divide it by 4. When you're doing part A and B, remember to divide by 5. So the new mean is equal to 3 for part A if we add the number 3, and the mean stays the same. For part B, the new mean equals 5 if we add 13, and we notice that the mean goes up. For the second question, we've got the total number of girls is 80. We need to do 20 times 4, which gives us the 80. And for the second one, we need to do 6 times 4, which is 24, and that means the total number of boys is equal to 24. To find the total number of boys and girls, we just need to add the 80 and 24, and that gives us 104. Then to find the mean for the whole class, we need to do 104 divided by 8, which is the total of boys and girls, which gives us 13, and the mean of the whole class is therefore equal to 13. And that's the end of the video.